What is going on, guys? You're back with another video. It is the wild card round of our 49ers franchise. A devastating blow last week. Absolutely smattered. And honestly, with the way Hurt has played, I know we've mentioned it a few times, we need a big guy out there. We have Kittle, though, even though he sometimes wants to drop the ball. Debo may get the surprise start against the Saints into the in the slot. I just don't know. Or maybe we may move Goodwin to, I don't know, man. I just don't know who to trust. I really don't, because Hurt has been struggling on his route running. Debo is actually pretty decent on some of the plays he had last week and just in the season alone. I've wanted him as the number 3 the whole time, but people suggested Hurt, and a lot of people suggested him. So a quick little update for the XP and gameplay sliders. These are the sliders. A few people have actually asked me, so I will remember to do that right now. These are the sliders. If you want to see them, pause. This is pretty much it. Maybe the fumble should be a little bit higher. But overall, I like where we're at. You know, it seems like the good teams do well against us and the bad teams don't. So maybe tweak it a little bit more, but I think this is a good starting point, and then you can go from here, you know, upgrading or downgrading a few points at a time. And then I decided I really didn't want our guys upgrading as fast as they were at first. So we went from like 170 down to around this. Nothing really spectacular at all. You know, I'm really not even worried about the XP sliders because I'm trying to just have a good rebuild fun time, which is just not English, but that's what I'm going for, and I don't want my guys to upgrade so much. So for these, I would probably just go off of someone else's or your own. Kicker, punter, fullback, O-line should be the highest of your XP sliders, though, for sure. We may play the Saints game here, but it may be next episode. It depends on how long it takes to go through all of the stats that matter the most. We were number 4 in offensive yardage behind the Jets, Giants, and Chargers. The New York teams coming out to play 6,200 yards. Both teams, we also had 6,100. Were we the best rushing team in the league? We were not. We were number 6, which is actually pretty good. You know, you compare that to the passing numbers, and for the most part, we were better than a lot of them by a mile. What else do we have? Passing touchdowns, the most in the league, goes to the Patriots. We were like number 7-ish. Rushing touchdowns, we were about number 9. First downs, I don't think we're going to be that high. First downs are maybe at 16 points per game. Does go to us, which is nice. Total yards goes to not us. Yeah, we already seen that. Good job, stupid. Total offensive yards is also number 4, so it's kind of interesting to see the way that goes. Defensively now, we were very bad on defense. We had our moments, but we played very porous. We were actually the 2nd worst team on defense when it comes to allowing yards. We allowed a massive 4,600 yards, which was the 2nd worst, and we allowed 1,376 yards, which was actually not that bad. Our rush defense was decent. We were the 4th best rush defense. Pass defense was not, though, which tells you a lot of teams did gunsling on us because they didn't have a lead early. Points allowed, the Patriots allowed by far the most. Points allowed from us, we were pretty bad. We were, you know, like the 10th worst. Actually, no, that was the 10th best. Was it? No, we were the 10th worst. Okay, 10th worst. Fumbles, we were pretty bad. Picks, though, I'd say we're high, yeah. 39 interceptions. That's really where our wins come from. Sacks, we were the 2nd best there. Don't care about any of this crap. This is just useless. I guess we'll take a look at turnover differential. We were the best in the league for turnover differential with 21. The next was the Broncos with 13. But honestly, 21 is really not that great when you factor that we did have 39 takeaways on defense just from picks alone. Another 3, I think, from fumbles. So there's that. Let's take a look at our season stats. And then, of course, the most important, well, I guess the 2nd most important, the awards. Jimmy Garoppolo with almost 5,000 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 13 picks. 66% completion percentage with 114 passer rating. Matt Breida, unfortunately, did not get to 1,000 yards, and Coleman only got to 762, but he did have 10 touchdowns, so a very split backfield. Receiving, Kittle with 1,329 yards and 12 touchdowns. Pettis with 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Goodwin almost 900. Hurd, a big surprising 850. I honestly thought it would have been less. He didn't have many touchdowns, though, along with some of the other guys. Joe Staley probably racked up 3 or 4 just on the last game alone. Sack totals were very bad for the offensive line. Speaking of sack totals, Nick Bosa with 11, 12 for Buckner, and 12.5 for D. Ford. Josh Jones with 6. A couple of other names there. Buckner was very good on the season. Pick totals 7 or 8 for Quan, 7 for Fred, 7 for Tart, 6 for Sherm, 5 for Colbert, 3 for Ward, 2 of them only a week or 2 ago. Jason Verrett with 2, and then Tyree Robinson with a pick 6 to win a game. Robbie Gould, probably the kicker of the year, with a massive perfection of 33 for 33, 96% accuracy on the extra points. Very good stuff. Kickoffs 105, 61 touchdowns actually. Punting, we didn't really have a great year punting. 42.3 average. 11 touchbacks, 15 inside the 20. That's not terrible. Apparently he played 9 downs on the entire season. That's insane. How'd you do all that? Mostert with a kick return touchdown. I do remember that. Punt return touchdown, nothing. All right, yearly awards. Here we are. Tom Brady is the league MVP. Zeke very close behind. Phillip Rivers at 3. Jimmy Garoppolo was still on the list at number 8, which is still impressive. Coach of the year goes to the Seahawks. We were number 3. I think we would definitely have won that. The Seahawks and Chiefs doing well isn't a big shocker, but the 49ers to turn around that quick, that's pretty impressive. Hopefully, man, Eli Manning with a Best Player of the Year, basically, award. Saquon not too far behind. Defensive Player of the Year does, in fact, go to Quan Alexander over Khalil Mack. We did have Fred Warner. He may have had a chance, but he did get hurt for the season, basically. Jalen Hurd, the 3rd best offensive rookie of the year. There you go. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Nick Bosa was number 5. Doubt he would go to Superstar X Factor, but you never know. Apparently, Eli Manning was the 2nd best Offensive Player of the Year, but number 4 is the best QB in the NFC side. So, was he just like a god at rushing? Like, did he have like multiple rushing touchdowns? I don't even know. But Jimmy with the best QB award, I think easily deserves Superstar. So if he doesn't get it, we will be forcing that on him. Sorry if you don't like it, but things have to happen. Receiver, Pettis was number 8. Offensive line, we did have Staley at 7. Not really a fan of his latest performance. Buckner at 4. D Ford at 8. Both are probably like 14 if they could show that. Good linebacker numbers. DB, Tart was the best. Robbie Gould, obviously the kicker of the year. Now here's the main thing we wanted to see. The upgrades. Please be some big up. Did we like get nothing on the season? I suppose that's the case. Okay. So going against... Oh, I forgot to check out the stats of the entire season for everyone. Quan Alexander, maybe some of your favorite players. Run stopper, please. I thought he was going to get the scheme fit. 82 overall. Will have a dev up. Most likely best, defensive player of the year. Best linebacker, I believe. If that isn't, then once again, we're forcing another one. Superstar development there. Let's take a look at the season stats. Who was the best QB? It said Tom Brady won MVP. It must have been touchdowns, right? So NFL, Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest in yards. Tom Brady, 40 touchdowns, 8 picks. You cannot really argue with that. Passer rating was worse, though. I believe Jimmy had the best passer rating of actual starters. He did. Mahomes, close behind, but could maybe almost make the argument that Jimmy did deserve MVP because Mahomes' yardage was really low. A touchdown to pick was nice. Jimmy did have a couple of struggles down the stretch, but to carry the team like he did is very impressive. Eli Manning, 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. How is he even close to Offensive Player of the Year? That's not even better than Jimmy Garoppolo, let alone some of the other players. Aaron Rodgers had a good season, apparently. Decent, I guess. Some interesting numbers. Rushing totals, Zeke almost won MVP, which makes sense. He almost had 2,000 yards rushing, which common sense would tell you is well over 2,000 total scrimmage yards. And then outside of Elliott, unless someone had crazy yards per carry, no one really even touches him. Let's take a look at touchdowns, though. Speaking of touching things. Yeah, there's some interesting numbers. Of course, Tevin had 10 on the nose. Maybe even he gets a dev up because touchdowns are pretty big for running backs. Looking at the rushing yards, Kareem Hunt was 3 away. Aaron Jones really close as well. Oh, that's brutal. Matt Breida with 948. Of course, Tevin had, what, like 790 or something? 762. Receiving, the most catches on the season goes to Julio Jones. Most yards, however, goes to Tate with Julio right behind him. Kittle was pretty much the most successful of the receivers with the highest, well, second highest, well, third highest yards per play behind Goodwin and Hurd and Pettis. Apparently our entire receiving core very efficient with the ball. Touchdowns goes to Terrence Williams of the Packers. Out of nowhere. I don't even think he's playing football in real life right now, is he? I don't even know. Josh Gordon gets reinstated, has an amazing season, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. And then of the 10 touchdown receivers, double digits, no one else. What about the receiving yards? Couple of names there, and then Marquise, no. Honestly, that 1 yard could be the difference between him, same with Humphreys, between him going up in dev and not going up in dev. That's brutal. 1 yard. I'd be freaking devastated. So looking at the most sacks, Joe Staley was up there. Looking at the least sacks, there's a couple of backups here. I can't really tell even which ones of these would actually have started, like at the left tackle position. I don't really care about too much. The tackles are the ones giving up the most. Dwayne Brown had an insane season. Starting at left tackle, gave up 1 sack in 10 games. In fairness, he was injured, but that's still very good. Defensively, the most tackles on the season goes to Quan Alexander. I'm actually shocked by that because usually user games don't get that, especially, we didn't sim any game, I don't think. Pretty impressive. Fred Warner with 121 before he got hurt. I'm actually shocked we had those kind of numbers, man. Those are actually very impressive. Normally we have half of what the highest guy has, but apparently not. Sack totals, the highest was Donald with 19.5. Where were we? We were very close. I'm not going to show it, but we would have had 12 and 12.5 and then 11. So we had, 3 top 10 pass rushers on the league season. We had the top 3 interception leaders. Top 5 technically if you put Sherman there. Colbert was nice. Take a look at the most yards on the season for returning Quan Alexander. What about negative? What the hell happened to Jason Verrett? Was it because we were wasting time? I think it was. We actually wasted time. It might have glitched, to be fair. I don't even know. Best kicker obviously goes to Robbie Gould. Second closest was Zerline, Lutz, and McManus. And then the highest yards per punt was Morstead with a massive 55.4. 13 touchbacks. Not bad at all. Kick returns, the most touchdowns on the season was 1 for 3 different players. One of them was ours. No 1,000-yard kick returner. Punt return, the highest was Goodwin. Touchdown highest was Cordero Patterson, Tyreek Walton, Deshaun, and Cooper Kupp. That is going to conclude the stats and awards portion of our 49ers franchise. We'll actually take a quick look. I didn't pay attention to every single team. Was there any stats records that were broken? I'm almost certain there was not. Looking just for the number that is 2019, which there, of course, isn't. Game stats, 2019, anyone? And the answer to that is no, it is not. So there's that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Maybe follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr. Thanks for watching as always, and next video will be the Saints versus the 49ers going in New Orleans. Hopefully that stadium doesn't go blackout, as we actually had that happen in the game earlier. The screen kind of blacked out on us, which is just hilarious, but fortunately could not keep the footage there because, life sucks sometimes. But yeah, hopefully come back for next video, but until next video, see ya!